One sentence defining spiritual enlightenment. It's short. Spiritual enlightenment is the joy of not being afraid. Spiritual enlightenment is the joy of not being afraid. It's the far side of fear. It means something light in both senses of that word, both light as in bright and light as in not heavy. It's not that the weights and the darkness of the world don't exist. They do exist. But we are spiritually given light and lightness to ignore them some of the time. Spiritual enlightenment is also a return from exile. As today's first testimony passage puts it, God will bring us back from the place of exile. We are on our way home. Enlightenment is a return, a coming back to what we have been promised. In this text that we just heard, so beautifully read, Henry, thank you, God's a little bit insulted. What do you mean, says God? Do you think I sent you out there and I've left you? I didn't do that. Why don't you get it? I'm going to bring you back. I sent you out, I'm going to bring you back. I love the line, for surely you know, don't you, that I have plans for you. What do you think I am? Stupid or mean? Ugly? Powerless? Who do you think I am? I have plans for you, and these are plans for your welfare and not your harm. So if enlightenment is a great relief from exile and a great lightness of being, why do so many of us pursue it so grimly? I watch women on their way to yoga in Manhattan all the time. Do you? The pack is here. I'm on my way to yoga because I know I should go to yoga. I'm on my way to yoga. I am marching to yoga. And the fact that I have a scowl on my face has nothing to do with the peace I'm going to have any minute. It's only $35 an hour. I can afford it. I hear people talk about yoga all the time as a great example of a new consumer-based enlightenment. In the terms of should. I should go to yoga today. I should have gone to yoga yesterday. I should go tomorrow. But you know, I was just too tired, and so I didn't go, even though I know I should have. I just skipped it. People almost seem to lament the invitation to joy. I know I should feel grateful, but. I know I should be lighter, but. I know I should, frames an awful lot of the experience that people report to me. I know I should be lighter, but. Beneath that frame, I know I should remember God's promises, but there is a terrible amount of genuine, first-class, first-world, real anguish. There's nothing phony about it. When we know we should and we don't, we become like St. Paul's great line, the good that I would do, I do not, and the evil that I would not do, I do, and boy, am I a mess, and I know I shouldn't be a mess, but I'm still a mess. And most of this anguish comes, I think, from a well-tutored fear. It's the I know I should frame greeting everyday experience and allowing the end of the day to come with both a bang and a whimper instead of a great exhalation or breath into joy. Before you start throwing the Pollyanna epithet at me, let me assure you that I'm actually a very miserable person. I am so unhappy and so worried about everything. I have a permanent scowl on my face. That's not true. But I am certainly not a Pollyanna. The things that we fear are very real. There's just no point in putting them into the driver's seat. I want to talk about that fear that limits our joy today and make sure we all recognize immediately that it has a large and increasing advertising budget. It is not an underfunded enterprise. There is nothing wimpy about the scare and hate people. They're real. They give every appearance of being in charge. And the more power we grant to them, the more power they have. In fact, the power of the scare and hate people grows every time we forget to go to yoga or breathe deeply into joy, with or without a yoga mat. There is simply no need to grimly pursue joy, to know that we should, but we don't. There is just no need to be as afraid as we are. We can be lighter. We can live more at home on the planet, in this time, and in this day. We may not be able to change the difficulties that surround us, but no one else is in charge of our attitudes about these difficulties but us. The road out of exile is ours, not theirs, unless we give it away and allow the wrong drivers to drive us to places we don't really want to go. I love the way Freire says it. How can you tell a really good radical? By whether they trust the people or not. And trusting the people means trusting the people who are like you and me, who hear the well-funded scare and hate people talk all the time and don't believe them. Just don't believe them. So 3 paths out of exile into enlightenment will structure these small words I will give you today. 3 examples. The first is our attitude towards swine flu, H1N1. A second is our attitude towards hate speech. And the third is the permission we give to personal confusion. And I'm going to start with the third and go backwards. Personal confusion is my favorite form of consent to exile. I know it the best. For some reason, I, like perhaps some of you, have internalized a completely contradictory set of expectations for my life. I know I'm not alone. I want lots of excitement and peace at the same time. I want lots of impact on society. I want to be an effective person who changes things, and I just don't want to go to a lot of meetings. For decades now, I have known 2 contradictory forms of personal happiness. One is that I'd really like to live on a farm and grow things, and the other is I want to do urban ministry. I appear to think my own vocational home is simultaneously rural and urban, simultaneously diverse and homogeneous, and so that at the end of a good day in the country, I long to be in the city, and at the end of a good day in the city, I long to be in the country. This personal confusion is most aptly described by the kind of car I would like to drive, which is a convertible pickup truck with a hybrid engine. And the truth is, they don't make that kind of car. Did I also tell you that I want to live my life completely surrounded by family and friends, and that I really like solitude? Did I mention that I long for deep and sustained attachments with real human beings, half of whom drive me insane? Lewis Carroll named personal confusion well when he said that if you don't know where you're going, just about any road will take you there. When we live in the exile of personal confusion, when we do what many of my women of my demographic do, which is to compulsively and compulsorily have it all, damn it, now, everything now. When we live that way, we find ourselves getting just what we have, what we want. We suffer from attention surplus disorder, not attention deficit disorder. Input personal confusion, output personal confusion. Input indecision, output indecision. Input wanting contradictory things, output contradictory things. I know I'm not alone in these extravagant grips and gripes I have with life.